Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Milk and Madness podcast, where we explore motherhood one episode at a time. If you're new to Milk and Madness, welcome. We are so glad to have you with us. And if you're a regular listener, we are very grateful. A few weeks ago, we talked about the essentials you'll need when you start having kids, like the pram, the car seat, nappies, baby wipes, etc. So now let's talk about those things which are not essential or even probably a waste of time and money.
Absolutely. Yes. So through our own personal experience, by trial and error, we've also received so many different things as gifts throughout the years, hand-me-downs. There are just so many things which you may feel you need, and other people may feel you need as well. But the reality is you might not. Again, just remember that this is our own feelings from our personal experience, but it does come down to what will work for you, your family, your baby, what's going to make life easier for you, and honestly help you stay sane. So we've got a list of stuff. We've got breast pump as a non-essential. What do you think?
I think it's not essential. I think if
Okay.
you breastfeed and you're fine and your partner's happy to not feed, there's pros and cons to it. I don't think it's essential if you have a good flow and all of that.
Mhm.
I think if on your journey for breastfeeding, you find that you're just not getting, you don't know how much you're getting, your baby's struggling to breastfeed, your partner wants to feed, you're going away, whatever it might be, then yes, get a breast pump. Ideally, if you've got a friend who doesn't need theirs anymore, maybe grab it off them, buy it off them, whatever. That's how I got mine, because I didn't use it regularly enough to warrant me going out and buying a brand new one. So, yeah, I think it's just one of those things you have to assess as you go. You just don't know.
Yep. Yeah. I was just going to say with breast pumps, they can be also quite pricey. My sister had, I think it was called a Spectra, which was really dear, and she did really well, literally lending it to me and to quite a few friends. I think it was worth the cost. But what I did was I think I had a Medela, which is
Mm-hmm.
pricey-ish. But what I really loved was this really cheap manual pump, this
Mm-hmm.
A-vent manual pump. It was, I can't remember how much, but it was significantly cheaper. It was really small, uncomplicated. You didn't need the wires or anything like that. And I felt the suction was good. It was like a good suction, like it's really satisfying. So I would say, absolutely, you don't know if you're going to need one until you get there. I would talk to friends before giving birth to suss out who's got a pump, who can I actually borrow it from when I do need it, so that if it's 1 a.m. or whatever it is and your husband needs to go and get this pump, we know where you're going. Or if you have the funds, just get a cheap one. I recommend, honestly, the manual one. It's a lot of work, but sometimes you can have a clot and it might get a bit hard in your breast, and maybe there's just a duct that needs some unclotting. So I found my manual pump really great for that because the suction was like, it was really good. So breast pump, I don't know, it's one of those things where it could be really, really essential, but you don't know. So maybe just do some forward planning before you get there so that you're prepared and you know what pharmacy has them or that kind of stuff nearby. Bottle warmer.
Nah, big fat no. Big fat waste of money, in my opinion. There are so many things that would just, it's a waste of money. I don't know, like you can just heat it up on the stove if you need to.
Yeah.
If you've just pumped, then they can have it straight away, obviously, because it's still warm. If it's frozen, of course, leave it out, defrost it, all that jazz. But I don't know, like when you're on the go and even if it's formula, room temperature's fine. I don't know. My kids weren't fussy in that respect, so
Yeah,
I think
sure. I
it's a
was gonna
bit of a
say,
waste of
yeah,
money.
if your kids are fussy, I think it's a different story. We had one given to us, like a really cheap Avent one, and it was definitely on its last legs. It still worked though, and we did use it when we were home. Is it essential? No, I agree with you, but it was nice to have when you're home. And I was pumping, so we had milk that was frozen
Mhm.
or was in the fridge. So it meant that you could put the frozen milk or whatever in it just to like defrost, and it never got too hot because you could control the temperature. So that part of it was really great. And it meant that it kept it warm whilst you, oh gosh, okay, the nappy needs changing, and then some other stuff happened. And sometimes you might forget it and it's in there for 10 minutes too long. It never got really hot. Whereas I feel with the stove, you've got to watch it a bit more. There's pros and cons, but agree, not essential. But if you get one handed down, take it.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Anything you get handed down,
Yep.
take it.
Yep. Bottle sterilizer.
No. But
Nah.
again, I didn't bottle feed as much. If you are going to be bottle feeding, maybe, but soap and water, I don't know. To me, it was
Mm-hmm.
enough. I just washed them and I
Mm-hmm.
had enough. Again, I had a lot of bottles handed down to me, so I had enough to not need to sterilize after every single feed or wash after every single feed, or I could just put it in, use the next one, use a couple.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't essential for me to have to sterilize or wash it straight away. And I
Yep.
didn't use it that often. But look, maybe if you are going to be solely bottle feeding
Yep.
for that convenience factor again, I still don't
Yep.
think it's essential though. Like you can just wash it. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not anything
Mm-hmm.
dirty. It's just milk. Like it doesn't
Yes.
need sterilizing. It just needs a clean.
So I remember doing some research on this in the early days, and things might have changed now, so I'd recommend looking it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was like maybe the Royal Women's Hospital or like a big hospital in Australia, and their
Mm-hmm.
recommendation was that up to 6 months, if you are bottle feeding regularly, then you should sterilize it, the equipment, the breast pump stuff, the bottles, up to 6 months. And after
Mm-hmm.
that, the baby's immunity should be strong enough. You can continue sterilizing if you need to. I think a lot of these things that are on our non-essential list are things you can do without. So you can use the microwave, or you can just use boiling water or soap or whatever. But some of these things just make it potentially a little bit easier for you. So we had a sterilizer. Again, it was Avent. So obviously someone was a big Avent fan, had given us all their old Avent stuff, but it was it wasn't fancy at all. Like you get really fancy ones, and I don't think you need them at all. It was just, imagine like a Tupperware container that had sections for all your bottles, all the nipples and all the bits of your pump. You fill it up with water. On the bottom, you put a lid on, it seals it, and then you put it in the microwave for 5-10 minutes, whatever time, so that the water does the job for you. So I found that really handy, and we did use it quite a bit at the start. Is it essential? No. But did it make my life easier? Yeah, somewhat, absolutely. But you just fill your sink with boiling water and some soap, whatever it is, and that will kill the germs. So that will do the job as well. But again, if you get it, hand it down, take it.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, what's next? We've got diaper nappy bag.
Just use any bag.
Yeah,
Is the short answer.
totally.
I don't think it
Totally.
has to
Yes.
be a diaper bag.
No.
I found I've got like this almost like a hiking backpack, and that
Mm-hmm.
thing, it was just perfect for
Mm-hmm.
everything that I needed. It had all the compartments, it just literally had everything that I need. I didn't need to go out and buy specifically a diaper bag. It's anytime you put a label on it that it's baby related or that it's like wedding related or any sort of thing related, it always marks up the price a little bit. But make sure it's a backpack. Don't get anything that's like over the shoulder or yeah, because that's just too hard to carry. Hands free. So any sort of backpack, anyone that you have at home will do the job. So yes, you need a bag for all the bits and pieces that you're going to have to carry around, but does it have to be specifically a diaper bag that's marketed as a diaper bag? I'm going to say no.
I completely agree with you because, yeah, you don't need a fancy bag with hundreds of little pockets. Again, we got handed a baby bag, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot where things were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it had so many pockets. I'm like, okay, wipes are going to be in this pocket. And then we've got snacks in this pocket. And then the bottle, there'll be pockets that were insulated. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
sure. Okay, so the bottle will go there. And then honestly, in the moment where, let's say there's a nappy explosion or poo explosion or something, you're like, oh my God, I'm like frantically trying to find stuff because everything we had in our own special compartments, and they really do market it in terms of that. Oh, there's all these sections for all the different things that you need. What honestly, a simple bag with one big compartment might be better. trial and error. Like literally, if you have a couple of backpacks, try them out and see what works, what feels comfortable to wear, is going to be big enough for all the stuff that you need. You know, you might need a small one, someone else might need a big one, all that kind of stuff. Dee's absolutely right. If you get one that is like a satchel or with straps that you put on one shoulder, that might be okay for a little bit. If you're out and about a lot, and let's say you don't have a pram or something to put the bag in, and you're holding the baby, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it really
Yeah.
quickly. So yeah, you definitely don't need a specific baby nappy bag. Absolutely. Yep.
All right, next one, baby monitor. Thoughts?
I lean more towards essential, I think, but I don't know. I think it's because in my mind, it just feels like it's another added layer for your mental peace in terms of just knowing that your baby's okay. We had Kenzo in our room for a couple of months. So did we need it then? No. But when you're outside of the room, maybe. Then we moved into the next room. We could literally hear him cough or breathe. So we probably did need it then, but we still had one because every now and again you want to see, oh yeah, has he rolled over and is he lying on his stomach and he can't roll properly yet or something like that. And then also if you have babysitters, I think babysitters in particularly might be more anxious because they're like, okay, it's not our baby. Like we really need to make sure that this baby's okay whilst we're looking after them. So I think a monitor in that situation is really, you know what? Yeah, I think it's gonna. I think for me, I think it's essential, especially at the start. When they get older, you don't need it. But at the start, I think essential. Again, get a cheap one. You don't need a fancy night vision, 4K, only see through your phone app kind of stuff. Like you don't need that. There are definitely cheap options. But I'm gonna change my mind and say, yeah, I think it's essential.
I'm still on the fence. So I think I am leaning a little bit more towards essential because I think you're right. In the early days, when you're still learning, especially with your first child, when you're still
Mhm.
learning the way that they breathe, the way that they sleep, when they're going through all those milestones really quickly, it is important for your peace of mind to know what they're doing. And sometimes you don't want to go in the room because you don't want to wake them up and all that stuff. So just checking them on the monitor makes sense. In saying that, though, I don't think I use my monitor that
Mhm.
much. Thank God it was a gift. I wouldn't
Mhm.
recommend going out and buying one. Like, it was a gift from my sister in law, and it was quite expensive because it came with the heart monitor that you put under the mattress.
Mhm. Yep.
That, for me, was 1,000% essential because I was really scared about SIDS and I was really anxious about all of that. So, that for me was actually more important. But with Aiden, because we had the side sleeper, I actually would move it. So at night we had it
Mhm.
in the bedroom, during the day I had it in the living room. And so while I was doing stuff, I was
Mhm.
close enough to be able to hear him and see him as I walked past. So I didn't really use the monitor that much, but I do agree that at the start, it's probably a good idea to have something cheap just so you can go and just have a quick little check in and see what's going
Yep.
on.
Yep, yep, yep. You mentioned that other device. It
Yeah.
was a heart.
I'm pretty sure it was either heart or like breath, like some sort of
It was
movement
breathing.
device.
It
Yeah.
was breathing. And I remember because we got it handed down to us and we'd never used it. So
Oh,
it's
really?
interesting because you said that you think it's really essential, where I never used it. So therefore I would say
Mm,
not essential. And I remember you had it. I specifically
mm.
remember coming over to your place and you had it. And I was like, oh, that's what that thing's for. Oh, okay. Kenzo's probably like a year old by now, so we'd never used it. That's really interesting that you felt it was essential. Whatever's going to give you peace of mind
Mm.
in terms of your baby's safety is what you need and what you feel is essential. So each to their own, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's either one or the other, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they both do the similar sort of thing. So maybe pick one, whichever one you think works for you, pick one or the
Mm-hmm.
other if you're paying for it yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good. Nursing pillow. Any pillow will do.
Hmm.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I would have some comments though, because you can't really use a super soft one that doesn't have any support or firmness. That's probably not going to work. And something that you can mold a little bit, because if it's too firm, then it probably won't work as well. But look, you just You just, through trial and error, will realize, or you will adapt as well, but you will get an understanding of what you need to help in terms of positioning the baby if you are breastfeeding, or even if you're not, like with the bottle, you still want to hold the baby and have support because, yeah, your back and your shoulder and your arms, they can get really tired and the baby gains weight really quickly. So, yeah, you don't need a special, specific nursing pillow, one that's marketed for that. Any pillow will do, but there will be some that will be better than others for sure. We did have one handed down though, and it was like in a bean shape. And then my friend also had this weird one. I'm like, this is too much for me. And it was like, had this thing that go around you. I was like, oh, nah, I'm okay. And I had the bean one already, which I've handed down to my sister. She really liked it too. So again, it's just the convenience thing. You hope that some of these products that is marketed for a baby support product, that they have done testing or have gone, okay, most women like support this way or whatever it is. So it might make your life a little bit easier, but do you need to go out and buy one specifically? No. No.
You touched on a really good point because I had completely forgotten about this. Your arm gets
Mm-hmm.
so tired.
Yes.
Yes, babies are small. Yes, they're little. But when they're breastfeeding on one boob for 20 minutes, 20 minutes is a long time to hold
Mm-hmm.
even their body weight. It's just to hold your arm in that position.
Mm-hmm.
It's tiring. So if you've got a cushion that works, like you said, trial and error. If you've got a cushion that works, or even just, I would just lie down on the couch and just have Aiden like lying down and Amelia lying down. So yeah, figure out what works. I got given like that boomerang one. I don't know if that's what you mean, the same sort of thing. It's
It
that
was
you like a
it
V
was
shape.
it was like a bean. There's so many. There's so many
Okay.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah, mine was like that sort of elbow shape, and that was good because
Okay.
it just sat right in me, and I could maneuver it however I wanted, and then out of it. But yeah, you do need something because your arm, your back, your shoulders will get. You don't realize because you hunch, but everything will be sore. So if you've got some sort of support there, it just helps a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so a few other things we've got on the list I think are more for when the baby gets a little bit older. So we've got things like baby food puree, shoes, toys, and books. So those things you absolutely do not need straight away. Food is 5, 6 months. Shoes, they can't walk. You don't need a newborn with shoes. Do not do it. It's a
They'll
waste of
just lose
money.
it. They will
Yeah,
throw them
yeah,
off. They hate socks. They hate shoes. Don't
yes.
do it.
Yes, they're cute. Yes, you're probably going to get a little Converse as a gift or something. Great, that's fine. But in terms of you going out and spending your money, don't do it because they're not cheap as well,
Mm.
and they have absolutely no use.
And
Right?
they'll literally wear it one
Um,
time, probably in one photo, and that'll be the last time you ever see it.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
if it completes the outfit, go for it, but not essential at all. Not practical
Yeah,
either.
yeah, yeah. Anything to do with feeding the baby, food puree, special spoons. You don't need to worry about any of that stuff for a good 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So don't worry about that. Toys and books. Look, not essential until a few months, but I would say if you had a baby register or people asking you if they can get you anything, that stuff is always really good. I'm really pro books. Like we've got so many books, and there are specific books you can get that are created for newborns or very early stage babies with the black and white, the contrast, that kind of stuff to help them in terms of just with their eyes. I would say, yeah, that stuff is nice. I would say it's almost essential because they do help in terms of just you engaging with your baby as well. Toys, you don't need many toys, especially early days. Just a few little things, a few soft things, maybe sensory things for them to touch, maybe a little baby soft rattle or something, just something like that. But you don't need to go crazy. You don't need to buy a whole heap of toys. Trust me, in a year you're gonna have so many toys.
Mhm.
They multiply. I was saying to my sister who was over the other night, and my kids are 6 and 3 now, but I swear to God, the toys multiply. We
Mhm.
had two tubs in the living room. One was for Lego and one was for Duplo. And then we had just like a little basket of other toys. And somehow there's 4 tubs there now. And the other day I was looking, I'm like, where is this extra 2 tubs of toys come from? I swear they're multiplied somehow, just sneakily multiplied in the house. Yeah, look, you're going to get so many gifts for birthdays and that kind of stuff that are toys. So you don't need to spend so much money, especially early days, getting
Mhm.
toys at all. And if you do want to help them in terms of that sensory stuff, cheap and easy stuff. You can get different little bits of fabric. They can play with just things that feel different. You have stuff throughout the house that you can do that with. So that would be my thoughts in terms of the toys and books.
Yeah, absolutely. Shop your house. That's what I did at the start. I just walked through the house and I just found things just that made different sounds, that felt different. Did the whole thing like where I put like dry rice, dry
Mhm.
beans, dry
Mhm.
different things in different containers and just let them shake it and play with it. And it made obviously a slightly different sound. Those little things, the things that will help save money. Because as they
Mhm.
get older, they want more expensive gifts and that. So when they're
Yep.
little, the smallest thing will entertain them. I don't know if you remember, but when you guys came over, all the kids would fight over this plastic, black, soundless potato masher.
I was going to
Like it
say your
had
kitchen utensil. Yes.
it had
Yes.
no made no sound, it had no color, had nothing, but all the kids would fight over this potato masher, and I have no idea why, because there was nothing special about it. But even just putting, I would get the old tissue boxes and put different things in there and have Aiden pull it out and Amelia pull it out, and that was fun for them. Cause and effect. Anything that has a cause and effect is a big thing for them. That's why they love peekaboo. But in order to save money as well, a good idea is if you can at your local libraries, we would take the kids to baby time and they
Yes.
would play and they would read a book that was age appropriate for them. And when they're little, it is all about the contrast because their eyes haven't fully developed yet. So, contrast, and even if you have a book or a mirror, even mirrors, anything that contrasts are the biggest thing. So just go to the library, borrow those books. They'll have the ages on them.
Mhm.
Borrow them, return them, get new ones. But it is all in those early stages. I think it is all about the interaction with the parents. So the more you can cuddle them, you can hold them, you can read to them, even if it's like a book that
Mhm.
you're reading, it doesn't matter. They don't know anyway. It's just they can hear the language. And then obviously as they get older, then yes, start going into books with words and pictures and talk to them and talk it through them. But libraries, baby time libraries will give you the steer. They'll guide you on where they're at on their particular age, of what type of books they should be reading. And then toy library, I always say 1,000% toy library because they have all the big toys and you can bring them home for a couple of weeks and they can press all the buttons and do all the things, and then you just return them at the end of the period. So they will save you money, because toys, like you said, they're going to receive them as gifts. So if there's something that you love, go out and buy it. But I don't know. I think 90% of the toys that the kids have were not bought by me. So
Absolutely. Us too. Yeah. Or from op shops.
yeah.
I think the toy library is so amazing, and we could definitely do an episode on the toy library, I think. But our mother's group were really big on the toy library, and you volunteer a lot. I not as much, but have volunteered. And yeah, it's really great because often it's the bigger stuff, the more expensive stuff as your kid gets older. But newborn, don't worry about that stuff at
Mm-hmm.
all. Have everything you need at home, most
Mm-hmm.
likely. So when it comes to thinking if you need whatever baby product that's being marketed to you, ask your friends, ask your mother's group, did you guys need this? Have you used this? Do you have one I can borrow to try it out? That kind of stuff. If it's anything that seems fancy, if it seems expensive, if it seems maybe gimmicky, right? Then pause because you're probably not going to need it. There's probably stuff at home that you can use instead of spending money and buying whatever gimmicky thing it is. Just, I'm going to say that's going to be 60, 70% of the stuff that's marketed to you. That's going to be the case. But there you have it, friends. That's our list of things that we found were not essential at all. Remember, again, every family's needs are different. Yours is going to be different to ours potentially. It comes down to what's just going to make your life easier, honestly, like in the middle of the night, and you want to have to think as little as possible. You go into automatic mode, right? It's whatever is going to make life easy for you. If there are a few things that you bought that were completely not essential and you felt were a waste of time, please let us know so we can share that with our audience. And yeah, we hope our insights help reduce a little bit of stress or maybe decision fatigue that you might be feeling when going through all the potential things you might need to buy. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, let your friends know, let your mother's group know about us, leave us a review if you can, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.